G'day folks, I've come back here to one of my favourite places, Boozy Creek. You've seen me catch a lot of carp and a couple of yellow belly here, but when I was here the other day I was getting a lot of really little nibbles, which I assume were from shrimp. So today I've come over here on a day with a gentle breeze or a northwesterly hurricane, and I'm going to put a couple of shrimp nets in and see if I can catch some shrimp for my dad who's going fishing at Lake Nillucooty soon. Righto folks, first thing I've got to do is get set up. I've got two different nets. I've got a collapsible bait trap and I've got a collapsible bait trap, but it's not used yet. I'm just going to open this up, put some more string on it, get some bait in, put them in and see how we go. Righto folks, if I appear to be yelling, it's because of the wind. It's very windy. This GoPro Hero 7 does have a very good wind filter on it. Alright. Net number one, let's put that out there. Now when I was bait fishing here the other day when I caught that dark carp and it was really windy, I had one line in around here and I was getting lots and lots and lots of little shrimp nibbles. Or what I assume to be shrimp nibbles. When shrimp bite your bait rod, your worms, you see real fast little, almost violent tap, 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 and there was a lot of that going on. So I suspect they were shrimp, which is why I've come back here with my shrimp nets. Net number two can go out there. Now with both nets I'm using dried dog food for bait, Goodos to be exact. I find this to be the best yabby and shrimp bait there is in these particular nets. It's not good bait in nets where you've got to tie the bait in, but in nets where they've got a little pouch for the bait, the Goodos dry dog food is my favourite. Now freshwater shrimp are very, very hard to keep alive. They're not like yabbies, which you can just place into a bucket of water and throw a heap of grass in. Shrimp need oxygen. If you can get water out of this creek which will have oxygen in it, and the shrimp in the bucket will use up that oxygen and pretty quick, and once that oxygen's gone out of the water, in other words, once the dissolved oxygen content lowers because they've used it all, they'll die. They need constant oxygen. There's two ways to keep them alive. You can put them in a bait container of some kind and leave them in the water. That will keep them alive. Or you can put an aeration device in the water. Now on the way out here today, I stopped in at Adventure Camping and Fishing in Wangaratta and I bought this bucket. It's even got the Complete Angler logo on it. I didn't even notice that till just now. Now it just looks like a normal bucket to keep the shrimp alive. But if you look inside this bucket, there is another bucket. This serves two purposes. One, I've got a bit of stuff in there now that I've got to take out to set up. You can keep your shrimp alive in that bucket, tie a string to it, then just hang it over the side of the boat, or if you're bank fishing you can just throw it into the water there and the shrimp will stay alive for as long as you need them to, because the oxygen in the water is flowing through and keeping them well oxygenated. Or you can put the shrimp, the water in this bucket, put the shrimp in there with an aerator, which I'm about to set up, which will also keep them alive. But by having this set up, you can put the water in the bucket, then you put that bucket in there, so that you've got that all sitting in the water. The aeration tube goes in that pipe, in that hole, and blows air into the water. And then when you want a shrimp or a yabby or whatever you've got in there, you can just lift them all out of the water, grab what you want, put them all back in the water. You don't have to fish around in the bottom. Now I was going to set this up on a table just down the river here a little bit at a picnic site, but the wind is going to be making it absolutely a nightmare up there on the high ground, and also the camera that I was going to use won't handle the wind as well as this GoPro. So I've decided to set it up right down here on the bank of the creek. Trying to work out a nice flat spot. I'll try here. That's all right, that'll do. Righto. Take that out. Wow, the flies are absolutely insane at the moment. I'll reach into here. I'll grab a few things out that I've just bought. Right, now there's my bucket. There's my setup. I just bought a little 12-volt pump. If you want to keep them alive for extended periods of time, you take this little 12-volt pump with you down to the river, and then when you get home you plug it into a 24-volt pump. I've just got to be a bit careful to make sure the wind doesn't blow any of this stuff into the river while I'm working here. like that. Oh my God. Actually, what I might do is put some water in this bucket now, just so that it's got a bit of weight in it, so that the wind doesn't blow it away. Alright, there's water in the bucket, the bait bucket's in with the water, ready to roll. It goes on there. Plastic tube on there. Inside here there's a little stone. Now all these bits of paper and rubbish that I'm getting here are all going into my left pocket to go into the car. Now because that stone isn't going to fit through that hole, what I've got to do is poke this through the hole, then put the stone on. I've got to get a battery. Stick a battery in there, pretty basic. It's just a little motor pushing something here that's producing air. Put that in there, turn it on. Did it work? No. Try that again. Maybe I've got the battery in backwards. Oh, that's a bit of a problem. It wants to work, and it wants to blow bubbles, but push that stone right down. Somewhere on the side of this bucket here, there's a clip for this. That doesn't make it sit on top anyway. There you go, folks. It's working, but it's a little bit faulty because it keeps cutting out because this side's not tight. What I need to do is get something metal, put it under the battery just to put a bit of pressure on it to ensure that it doesn't cut out, or get a rubber band or something to wrap around there just to squeeze it a little bit to make it tight. Yes, that's not ideal. But anyway, oh, there's the clip. That clip can just go onto the side there of that hole. There you go, look at that. That is ready to go. You can see under there there's bubbles coming up. The air stone is blowing bubbles. The air stone's not actually very far under. What I think I might do is go and get a little bit of fishing line from out of the car and tie a sinker to the air stone just to make it at the bottom, just to put more air into the water. At the moment there's only aerating the top couple of inches. Rightio. The stone doesn't sink as much as I'd like it to. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to tie the sinker right to the stone, but I'm just going to tie it just a weeny little bit above it. Righto folks, I've tied a little bean sinker here. Look at that, now the stone just goes straight to the bottom, in the middle, and fills that bucket with air. That is ready to go, and that will keep shrimp alive. You can keep shrimp alive like that for hours. If you take that hose off there and put it into a 240 volt pump, they'll stay alive for weeks probably. The main thing is that there's constant aeration because shrimp need oxygen in the water, and you use the water from where you caught the shrimp. You could probably get away with using tank water if you've caught it off the roof of your house, but do not use tap water. Rightio folks, and that's only been in about 15 minutes or so. Is that long enough to produce any shrimp? What's in there? Yes, I have got a couple. Only very small, but they'll do. Right. Shouldn't have left that. I shouldn't have left that running, should I? There was nothing in it. But anyway, I Don't need to leave them in the net. They're not the biggest shrimp, but they're big enough to, that one's not. One of them's big enough to put on a hook and catch a yellow belly. That one there is a bit small, but I'll put him in. There's another one in there as well, but he's way too small. So I've got 3. Small, small and medium. We've got 2 in the bucket. Dad's going to be stoked if I can get him some shrimp to take fishing when he goes over Lake Nillucuti later in the week. I like to try and land it upright for some reason. It's sort of, yeah, it's going to be upright. Now, considering the nets have only been in a quarter of an hour, so I think that's quite a good sign to get those 3. Night time's always better. I can hear one. Oh, you can see 3. You know, they're not big. They're not big, but they're big enough to use for bait. Well, that one is. That's not a really big shrimp, but it's certainly a shrimp that a yellow belly would take. So I'll put him in, and the other 2 are a similar size. There we go. Right. I would prefer to catch bigger shrimp. The shrimp I get at home in the Ovens River, some of them are huge. A good 3 or 4 times the size of these little ones, but that's a good start. They'll do. You'll notice when I'm fishing over here at Broken Creek or Boozy Creek, a lot of the time I'm fishing in the same spot. It's because every time I've tried other spots, they've all been too shallow. I just like that little spot. It's a little bit deeper. So what I'm going to do now, in between checking my shrimp net, is I'm going to go for a walk along the bank, and I'm just going to drift my Deeper Pro Plus through a few areas, my remote castable fish finder, and see if I can find some good looking spots to fish on future trips. Next time I come here, this is where I'm going to fish. A lot of the places I've seen have been too shallow or too deep, which means it's probably under 50 centimetres. A lot of it's been around 60, 70 centimetres, but just here it drops down to 1.2 metres. 1 metre just there. 1.1. It's a little bit deeper. There's a lot of tree roots around here. There's some clay banks behind me here. I like clay banks when I'm fishing. Clay banks, tree roots. I just think it's a nice little narrow bit, and it's the deepest part that I've found so far. Now I'm using my Deeper Pro Plus in basic mode. You can have detailed mode. Detailed mode will show me where the fish are and show me where the structure is and everything. And basic mode just gives me a depth readout. Basic mode pretty much turns it into a deeper start, which is the cheaper deeper of the lineup. That only has basic mode because it's more of a kid's thing. But where I am now, because if you look on the bank over here, see all these branches and logs and everything that have fallen down? Basically that's what it looks like under the water here, because we're in the same forest. You know what I mean? So what we can see over there is what's under the water here as well. So it's pretty much the same. Now right here where I am, I can't see any trees. If you look down there, you can see heaps of branches. So either it's not as snaggy or it's a bit deeper. So I've got the detail turned off, otherwise it's just going to show me all these branches and stuff. I've just put it in basic mode just to show me the depth, and where it is out there now, it's 1.1 metres. Let's bring that in a bit closer. 1.0, 8.9, so it's about a metre, between 90 centimetres and a metre 20 in this area right in the middle of this pool here. So this is definitely the spot that I'll be fishing next time I come over here. If you're interested in the Deeper fish finder, I'll put a link below to where you can buy these online, and if you use the Deeper code, if you use my personal code, Deeper/Robbie/15, you will get 15% off. Now if you want a unit that's just going to do what I'm doing now and just show you the depth, the Deeper Start will do that, but that's the only option it has. If you want something that can create bathymetric maps, inbuilt GPS, and you can switch into detailed mode, then get the Deeper Pro Plus that I'm using now. If you want the ultimate from their range, get the Deeper Chirp Plus. It has much more detail and it reads in shallower water. The link is below in the video description to where you can find them.